Hi lovely people, welcome and welcome back to my channel. At the time of the release of this video, Madonna is currently on her 12th concert tour, her celebration tour, and from the clips circulating of her shows, it is gratifying to watch because it is rare we get to see a superstar still active in their career, especially 40 years after their debut. Madonna has always released memorable and timeless projects, but I feel like the one that doesn't receive the proper respect is her 10th studio album, Confessions on a Dance Floor, released on November 8th, 2005. Given that this album is officially an adult, as it has been 18 years since its release, I want us to take a moment to revisit the album that officially cemented the Queen of Pop as the Queen of Dance. Coming off of her 9th studio album, American Life, the general public did not know what to expect with her subsequent project. During the production of American Life, Madonna was nicknamed by the media as quote-unquote the material mom, and was living a much calmer and quieter life with her then-husband Guy Ritchie and their 2 children. She had a much more calmer, introspective, and matured persona. After 9/11, and when the former Commander-in-Chief George Bush led the U.S. into war, the world drastically changed, which led to increased pro-U.S. messaging from many American corporations. Madonna soon began working on her concept album American Life that explored political-oriented themes and messages that rejected the superficial lifestyle of American culture, as well as the materialistic lyrics from her previous albums. Although the album was innovative and cohesive, as it went #1 on the Billboard 200, the album did not feature a single song that went top 30 on the US Hot 100, in which some believe is a result of radio stations blackballing the album due to its politically charged themes and the global atmosphere at that time. Fast forward to 2004, Madonna was working on 2 different musicals, as well as her documentary titled I'm Going to Tell You a Secret. She was no longer pleased with one of the scripts she planned to do with filmmaker Luc Besson, and eventually scrapped it, and used the leftover compositions for her forthcoming album. Initially, Madonna planned to partner with former collaborator, electronic dance producer Miraz Adamazeh, but decided against it as she noticed that most of their discussions centered around politics, which reflected the themes of her previous record. Instead, she brought in producer and songwriter Stuart Price, who worked with Madonna on her previous 2 tours, and enlisted Adamazeh and Patrick Leonard to help work on new songs for the project. Madonna recalled the stressful process of completing her documentary by saying, quote, "The entire time I was recording the album, I was also editing a documentary film that I've just finished, and that was very painful. It's called I'm Going to Tell You a Secret, and it's not a conventional documentary. It's cinematic. It's like a journal. I was flying to Stockholm every other week to work on the edit, then coming back here, and it was just very difficult, taking 350 hours of film and putting it into 2 hours. I was so wiped out by it. Confessions was the antidote for the stress of that film. It was, I want to dance, I want to feel free, buoyant, happy, placated, and so I'm just going to come up with this little white room and lots of cables, and I'm going to do that," unquote. When discussing the origin of Madonna and Stuart's friendship, Madonna said, quote, "Stuart was a no-brainer because I've been working with him on my last 2 tours and arranging a lot of my old music. He'd done tons of remixes for me, and we've been writing music all along over the years, so it just happened completely naturally. Once we decided to make a dance record, there were 2 promises that I made him swear to me. One was that we wouldn't make any record that he wouldn't play in a club, one that he could not make a dub version or remix of, and the other was that we had to immerse ourselves in all kinds of dance music. That was our homework because he is a DJ and has all kinds of 12 inches in old vinyl where we can listen to it and say, oh God, I love that bass line, love that little bell sound. We would not rip things off and go, we're going to copy that. We would just say we want to do something like that. So we'd immerse ourselves in all of that old stuff, and then we took it and made it new again," unquote. For me, the most surprising thing about this whole era was that the entire album was practically recorded in the comfort of Stuart's upstairs converted studio loft. I feel like that definitely set the tone for the album, as Madonna desired for a non-stop dance party free of generic ballads. The comfort and freedom was palpable, and that feeling was something Stuart confirmed 9 years later in 2014, reminiscing his experience with Madonna. Stuart said, quote, "She helped to create an environment where we're like 2 kids working together in the studio. She was really, I don't want to say smart, but she was really honest about music. She's really instinctive in understanding that dance music comes from a very minimal way of working. It doesn't come from throwing lots of money on lavish production. We spent 5 or 6 weeks in my apartment. The studio used to be upstairs in the loft. I would work on a track overnight, then she would come in and we start messing around. She would do vocal melodies and I would come up with a few ideas, then she'd go, okay, I'm gonna go home and think about it. Then she'd come back the next day and have the hook for Hung Up or the chorus for Sorry. Then I would carry on working on more tracks to keep us going. It was more of a really fluid and almost childlike environment than anything that seemed too serious," unquote. The album that resulted from this collaboration was Confessions on a Dance Floor, released on November 8th, 2005. The album is mainly an EDM 70s disco dance pop record that pays tribute to musical acts such as ABBA and Giorgio Moroder, who inspired Madonna to musically display her reverence for the genre of dance and the love of her craft, which explains the title. At the age of 47, Madonna once again reinvented herself by essentially paying homage to the genre and the 70s sound that birthed her career, and one that she successfully modernized to sound fresh and also futuristic at the same time. I think of this album as a love letter to her origins as a one-time 1980s dancer and clubgoer in New York, as well as her way of staying ahead of musical trends and setting the standard for how to honor a genre. An article from The Guardian said the idea was to create a record that resembles the score of a musical, with recurring themes combined with the feel of an hour at a nightclub. And that mission was set in stone as the first 3 songs created were Hung Up, Sorry, and Future Lovers. Eventually, once the album was released, it basically went #1 in pretty much every single country. In its first week, despite being released at the end of the year, it sold 3.6 to 4 million copies worldwide and became the 6th biggest selling album of 2005 worldwide, of 6.3 million at the time. The album topped the chart at #1 in the US, selling 350,000 copies in its first week, going platinum in the second month of its release. Confessions also went #1 in Canada, several Latin American countries, and Asian Pacific countries, as well as making the most commercial impact in Europe, where it topped the European Top 100 Albums chart for 4 weeks, which included the UK, where Confessions became our 9th #1 album. Madonna went on to win Best International Female Solo Artist at the 2006 Brit Awards and won World's Best-Selling Pop Artist and Best-Selling U.S. Artist at the 2006 World Music Awards, and also won a Grammy Award for Best Dance Electronic Album at the 2007 awards. She also added to her long list of Guinness World Records by topping the charts in the most countries, which was 40 countries overall. All in all, the album was one of the best-selling albums of the 21st century and one of the best-selling albums from a woman. Also, please be sure to check out my Janet Jackson revisiting video, where I discuss the impact of her Control album and how it set the trend for eras of music. The album opener and lead single Hung Up is a classic dance number about being an independent woman and making the most of time being wasted in a relationship. The song samples the instrumental to the group ABBA's 1979 song, Gimme Gimme Gimme, A Man After Midnight, which was not an easy sample to clear. Madonna said, quote, "I had to send my emissaries to Stockholm with a letter and the record begging them and imploring them and telling them how much I worshiped their music, telling them it was an homage to them, which is all true. And they had to think about it. Benny and Bjorn, they didn't say yes straight away. They never let anyone sample their music. They could have said no. Thank God they didn't," unquote. Benny Anderson responded by saying, quote, "We get so many requests from people wanting to use our tracks, but we normally say no. This is the only second time we have given permission," unquote. 2 months prior to filming the music video on her birthday in August 2005, Madonna fell off her friend's polo horse and broke 8 bones. In October, she recovered enough to film the music video inspired by John Travolta movies such as Saturday Night Fever and Grease, as Madonna strived to create an omnipresent feel and congregate people with the use of the boombox to make everyone feel included. The song went practically #1 everywhere in 41 countries except the United States, peaking at #7. This song is a classic and epitomizes the essence of a dance record. The second track off the album would be Get Together, which was released as the 3rd single from the project. It features Madonna singing about finding love on the dance floor and emptying out her internal thoughts of the highs and lows of the hopeful relationship. The song has a euphoric and exhilarating feeling that transports you into another realm. In my opinion, this is the best song from the album, so you can imagine my confusion of how this song was the worst performing single on the album, in which it failed to chart on the Billboard Hot 100. Even though it was one of the most downloaded tracks. I still think this song deserves better, and it would be a hit if it was released today because it fits the style of dance records I've heard the last few years. The second single, Sorry, opens up with Madonna saying the word sorry in 10 different languages, and I feel like for that fact alone, it cemented the song as an instant classic. With Madonna not accepting the apologies from her former lover, this song is such a powerful record and is the track that I feel aged the best out of all 12. The 4th track, Future Lovers, was inspired by Donna Summer's song Feel the Love, and both tracks became the opener for Confessions World Tour, which released at the foundation for the futuristic retro theme the concert ended up being. Madonna encourages listeners to feel the evidence of the brilliance of love, to experience the type of love that exists beyond time and spaces. The 5th track, I Love New York, is not my favorite song from the album, but I appreciate its honesty about her feeling towards the state. Madonna once said, "I wrote the song when I was in New York on tour. I have a history with New York that I don't have anywhere else in the world. Even though I grew up in Michigan, I really grew up in New York. Aside from when my mother died, the toughest time of my life was living in New York, being broke, having no friends, and struggling, trying to find my place in the world. I'll never forget those moments, Just coming up in the world, I was surrounded with just how real life felt and how tough New York is, and how in your face everybody is. And it's true, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. New Yorkers have this thing with people that they know have survived New York too. It's kind of respect. I don't know if you spent any time there, but it's kind of brutal, unquote. The next song, Let It Will Be, is yet another confession of Madonna's feeling of her fame and fortune, and at that point, she seemed content about her place as a public figure. Madonna said, quote, "It's just been this immensely long ride, and I just feel like I've earned the right to be able to step back and look at it and say, it is what it is. I don't feel cynical about it. I don't feel overjoyed by it. I don't feel let down by it. It just is what it is. That's the road I took, and hopefully I've made the best of it," unquote. The next track, Forbidden Love, is the second song Madonna has with that title, with the first off of her 6th album, Bedtime Stories. This song discusses a love that is filled with guilt and disapproval, but it is one she can't seem to stay away from. Co-written by Madonna's brother-in-law, Joe Henry, the song Jump encourages listeners to take risks and make their dreams a reality, with or without anyone by their side. This is my third favorite song off of the album, aside from Get Together and Sorry, and I absolutely love the live version of this song when Madonna performs this on her Confessions tour. The 9th track, How High, features Madonna continuing the messages from her older songs I Deserve It and Nobody's Perfect from her album titled Music by discussing how she spent her entire life wanting to be talked about and acquiring all of the fame and wealth and now contemplating if it will all be worth it in the end. The 10th track, Isaac, stirred lots of controversy when it was released, as there were Israeli religious leaders upset as they thought the song's title was about the 16th century Jewish mystic Yitzhak Luria, in which the Kabbalah scholar's name is not to be used for profit and that using the name was a great sin. Madonna responded by saying, quote, "The absurd thing is that it's not what they think it is. It's not a song about Isaac Luria. I don't know anything about Isaac Luria, so I couldn't write a song about him. The song is called Isaac because the man who was singing on it is named Isaac. I think one person saw the name and decided that they were going to go out and say I was doing something blasphemous, and it's just not true," unquote. Isaac is another favorite of mine and was one of the more sonically unexpected tracks from the album. The second to last track, Push, samples the band The Police song Every Breath You Take and seemingly uses the Indian tabla drums. It is a song specifically written to those who encouraged her growing up and motivated her to achieve her dreams. In one interview, she thanks her dance teacher in Michigan who pushed her to go to New York to follow her dreams of becoming a dancer. I prefer the lyrics rather than the production, but it is an essential track that encapsulates the theme of this album. Although the final track is a more subdued ending to such an up-tempo dance-heavy project, the message of Like It or Not essentially states that Madonna is here to stay. Regardless of the love, the hate, and all that she endured in her life and career, she is going to still be standing, and that much is clear to this day. Overall, the impact of this album is still being felt today. The publication Vice placed Confessions at 3rd of the 99 greatest dance albums of all time. Artists such as Dua Lipa even took inspiration from this album, as her manager once admitted that future nostalgia was directly influenced by Confessions. The album also stretched Madonna's record as the first act ever to score as many 50 number ones on the dance club chart. This album, as well as the incredible Confessions tour, proves to any Madonna doubter that she is still capable of reinventing her persona and producing timeless records that are strong enough to top the charts. In my eyes, she is the undisputed queen of dance and truly the mother of reinvention, and this project proves it. Let me know in the comments what you all think of Confessions on the Dance Floor, and what are some of your favorite songs if you have any. If not, let me know what is your favorite album from Madonna, and if you plan on attending her celebration tour. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.